Let's talk. Well, here it is, the new Eton satellite radio. Just got it yesterday, and I have some things that are bothering me about it that I've only played with it for a couple hours, but I wanted to go ahead and do this video to let you know there's some things about this radio that bothers me, and you might hold off on getting one. So let me just show you those couple of things in this video. The first thing is, let me turn the volume back up, and we'll tune back down to WWV. Now the first thing you will notice when I was tuning is that, turn that down, is this radio, unlike its predecessor, the Grundig G3, and this radio is basically the G3. The layout of the keys is basically the same. There are a few differences. The features are about the same. But you will notice that on this radio, that as I'm tuning, it mutes the audio while I'm tuning. Now do it again. Okay, there's the audio. Now watch when I tune. Watch when I tune. Listen when I tune. Notice that as I'm tuning, I have to, let me stop. I have to actually stop for half a second so the audio will come back so I can hear if there's a signal there. So if you're trying to scan the bands using this rotary tuner here, it's going to drive you nuts. Now, a number of other newer radios have that muting as you're tuning it, and it's associated with how the circuitry is set up. And the fact that it's, my understanding is that it's using an encoder to just break the signal to the tuner and reconnect it, and that tells the tuner, okay, it's changed frequency. And when it does that, when it breaks that signal temporarily, then you get that muted effect. And it's very annoying to me. I guess that's one of the reasons that it annoys me so much is I'm from the old school that used old analog tuners, and you had the signal there all the time. And not all new radios do that, but many of them do. This is one of them. The Grundig G3, as I recall, and I don't have that radio anymore because it was one of the giveaways that I gave away, it didn't do that. I went back to my old show where I reviewed that G3, and I watched it pretty carefully as I was tuning it, and it didn't seem to me like it was muting. It really did not seem like it was muting as I was tuning it. So the G3 technology, which is much older, that radio has been out for quite a while, didn't have that problem, and that's, to me personally, that's a showstopper. I don't like that at all. Even some of the nicer radios, like some of the nicer Sony radios, they do the same thing, and it's very, very annoying if you're the type of person that likes to just scan through the bands. But anyway, let me go back to the original problem that I wanted to show you, and that is, if we zoom in here, so I can show this display up close. Okay, right here is the S meter going up and down, where the more of these lines you see, the stronger the signal is. And the reception on this radio is fantastic. I mean, I'm in my office with lots of lights and computers on, and this thing is working fine with its own built-in antenna. So that's a big plus for it. Now, the G3 was the same way. It was a very sensitive radio. But here's the rub. When I take and plug in an external antenna, this is connected to my G5 RV antenna, outside antenna. This has an external plug on the side. And let me get this back in. I don't know if this is going to show up too well. Let me zoom a little more. And I'll move the radio around. Okay, here's the S meter. Well, I'm trying to use my mouse on my keyboard to show you. Here's the S meter right now. And I'm getting a terrific signal on WWV at 10 megahertz. It's like S7. It's almost full scale with just the whip antenna. And if I turn the audio back up, loud and clear. Now, a few minutes ago, let me turn it back down. A few minutes ago, when I started this video for the first time, I was only getting about half scale. So I would expect to see a noticeable difference when I used an external antenna. Now we're almost full scale, so it might not be as noticeable. Matter of fact, we just went full scale. That's unbelievable. The sensitivity on this radio is unbelievable. So let me try different frequency. Let me try 15 megahertz. Okay, I'm not getting any signal. The S meter is about a 2 out of 9, so it's real low. So then I should see some improvement using an external antenna, especially one like the G5 RV. So I'm going to plug it in the side here and try to do this so you can watch the S meter. Get my hand out of the way. Okay, there's halfway in. It's not fully plugged in. It's kind of loose. And you see the S meter went up to about 4. Now, I'm going to plug it all the way in. It goes down to nothing, 0. And the signal also has gone down to practically nothing. So I made the signal worse. Now, granted, I have tested and used this antenna many times, so I know the antenna typically gives you a pretty big boost in signal. Sometimes it's a boost in noise and signal, but it's definitely a boost in signal. So I'm going to pull that antenna halfway out. There, right there, you got a boost in the signal. I'm going to take it all the way out. And now it goes, it's on the internal antenna, and it's about S2. So fully seating the external antenna connector causes the signal to drop to almost nothing. Now, let me turn the sound down. Some radios, what they do is when you plug in to the external jack, for an external antenna jack, it cuts out the front end preamplifier. And it does that so that that sensitive preamplifier doesn't get damaged. But usually the external antenna that you're going to use provides a higher enough increase in the signal that you don't notice that the signal has gone down some to begin with. So it all kind of works out. And they do that mainly to protect that sensitive input device. It's usually an FET transistor. I don't know what they use nowadays, but some radios do that. And that's okay because it doesn't really cut it down that low. This radio, and maybe just the way it's designed, and maybe it's related to the fact that this radio is so sensitive as far as picking up signals with its own antenna, maybe that particular device, FET or whatever it is nowadays, is so sensitive they don't want you to bring in an external signal that might be so strong that it can break that device, damage that device. So maybe that's what they're doing. That could be. Now, I've also tried, just for another antenna and another connector, a different connector, I've tried this little guy here. Now I know this doesn't provide very much increase in the signal, kind of minimum increase. But when I plugged it in, and I'll do it right now, again, the S meter goes down. So I'll plug it in here. It's halfway there, and it went up a little tiny bit. Like I say, that antenna is not that good. Plus, I got it reeled up. I'm going to plug it in all the way, and the signal goes to nothing, to zero. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if there's really a problem there, although the fact that when you plug it in halfway, it seems to work like it should, where you're getting an increase in the signal using an external antenna. It's almost like that connector on the side is not wired up correctly. I'm not sure, I just don't know, but something is not right there. You know, it should not completely kill the input signal. It acts like it's disconnecting the internal antenna, which it should, but it's not connecting the external antenna unless I just kind of plug it in halfway. Now, by plugging it in only halfway, it's loose. It's not, as you can see, it's loose. And if I plug it in all the way, which is what you should do, click, then now it's tight. So I have to pull on this pretty hard to get it to rotate. But you can look over here, there's no signal. So I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if this really is a design flaw or what. So anyway, I wanted to show you those two things that I noticed right away, and I think I'm going to return this radio. Now, another piece of information is there are like right now there are like 4 reviews on Amazon on this radio, and one of the 4 mentioned this same phenomenon with the external antenna connection, that he also, when he plugged his external antenna in all the way, noticed that the signal almost went to zero. And if he only plugged it in part way, then there was some increase in the signal strength because it was an external antenna, as you would expect. So I'm not sure what that's about, but I wanted you to know. Also, the muting as you're tuning, I don't think that's a design flaw or something that's failed. That's just the design. And like I say, many other radios have that design where it mutes as you're tuning. I don't like it. I just don't like it. So anyway, that's kind of the brief overview of things I've found so far. Like I said, basically this is just a G3, Grundig G3 radio. The buttons are basically the same. A few of them have changed. The functions are about the same. If you want to go back to I think it's show number 105 and show 106, where I reviewed the Grundig G3, this is the radio you're getting. The G3 did not have this muting problem, and it did not have this external antenna problem or phenomenon, whatever you want to call it. Maybe I can get some more responses and read some more reviews about these two. Well, this is definitely, that's it. That's the way it's going to be. It's not a failure or anything. It's just the way it's going to be, this muting thing. That's the way it is. The antenna thing, I don't know what that's about. But I'm kind of disappointed. I'm kind of disappointed with this radio. It doesn't seem to be a major upgrade from the G3. It just seems to be a repackaging situation on the G3, similar to the other 3 new Eton radios, which are basically repackaging of the old Grundig radios. That's all they really seem to be. Some of them, they have some minor changes. For instance, one of the minor changes is this does not have a separate fine-tuning thumb wheel on the side. It's the wheel on the side is for volume. Like the G3, this was your main tuning, and this is your fine tuning knob on the side. This one, you push this button in, and it selects the tuning step. So like right now, we're in 1 kilohertz tuning. If I push it in, it goes to, and it's indicated right here, it's in stop mode now, so it's basically locked the frequency so it won't change if you bumped it. And then you push it again, and it indicates fast, and then again it's slow. We go back to fast, and now you can see it's 5. And that's, to me, that's not a big deal. Although I think that might be a problem when you're trying to tune single sideband, maybe not. And the reason I say that, I haven't tested it, is if this muting thing is still in effect when you're tuning. Let me just try single sideband. Okay, we're in single sideband, and it's an upper sideband right now. Turn the volume back up. Okay, the muting is still there, so it's not as noticeable now because I'm on the 5 kilohertz tuning mode, so it's not as quite as noticeable. Let me go back to 1, slow, turn the volume up. See it? Same thing. Get that muting. So when you're trying to fast scan, most of the time, until you hesitate, you have no audio. So you could easily miss the signal. See, that's very annoying. So anyway, that's the show. I just want to kind of give you that brief indication of things that I found just right off the bat that I really don't like. One, which is not a failure or a flaw, it's just the way it's designed, is that muting. The other one, there's something weird going on about this external antenna connection. So if you have any comments, or you've got one of these radios already and you've noticed some of these things, please let me know. Like I say, I did see one mention of this antenna problem on the 4 reviews that are on Amazon. So that's the show. I'll be doing a couple more shows on this radio, and then I may send it back, as I'm really disappointed. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.